Arc 1701 has joined the space. Reverend Lunar has joined the space. Phi has joined the
Virtual
space.
Ducky has joined the
space. Phi.
Buy for IMAX Theater Optimization Crosscheck.
That's so really
Configure customized movie screen.
Field of view maximized.
Power up revolutionary projection system.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Crystal clear images enhanced.
Calibrate powerful digital speakers.
Laser aligned sounds perfected.
So I nearly forgot about this event.
For maximum impact.
I know, we were having so much fun.
For full immersion.
It's true.
The world's most immersive movie experience begins now.
Yeah, why not? A little bit of the abstract liquid.
I haven't seen you in like 40 hours, 40 years.
Yeah, it's been forever.
Oh.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't even remember last time I saw it.
I love that music.
It had to have been.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Probably more years than one hand could count, maybe.
Oh, I need double. I need 2x.
I don't know how long it has
see
been
what I
since,
look like.
Since like the alt space date, like since like before, like I stopped using alt space around the time they were like going to shut down the SDK. I think. Then they added the new SDK. I was around for a little bit after that.
Okay, we're gonna start the event. Come on and join us over here if you like.
Howdy, folks. Welcome, welcome. This is the Banter-Ama, as we call it, where you can ask any questions you like. Or you can take a seat and just watch as I awkwardly fill the time. That's always fun too, because you know, who knows what I'm going to come up with. Kind of become a little bit of an improv comedy show that I'm workshopping. Don't mind admitting that. But whoever's brave enough to kick things off, feel free to take a step up into the middle, just like Arc there, and then I'll megaphone you just like I've megaphoned Arc. So now, Arc, go ahead. You can ask any question you like.
Well, I'd like to give you the opportunity to waffle on about something that totally has me geeked out. I grew up watching, Star Trek: The Next Generation, like I'm sure a lot of us probably did. Something that, and I think most of us, since we're in the XR community, saw was what is it called? The holotile that was made by that Disney engineer, where because like we've all seen like the omnidirectional treadmills, like the Catwalk C2, like I've got one of those, but this is actually the full-on omnidirectional floor. Now, a couple other outlets like Upload VR, they talked about it, and they made the same conclusion, multiple of them independently, about things like the development of an actual holodeck and how it seems like within the next decade that actually might become a legitimate thing where we can have, whether it's through using a VR headset or from even having like a wall that has projection that can hit your eyes and create the illusion that you're in a holographic environment like the holodeck is something that can likely happen within the next 10 to 20 years. And I bring this up because just where does this lead the direction of, XR as far as like, the adoption of it and all that stuff, as far as what's going to be possible. I know there's a lot of places you can go with that, but this is no longer stuff that's just in the theoretical, because a lot of the supporting technologies to make that possible, they now exist. Like Thrill Seeker about, a year or two ago did that, YouTube thing where he put all the different Ready Player One technologies that exist now to try to create a Ready Player One experience. So multiple different, independent technologies are evolving, and now they're starting to slowly seem like they're beginning to converge. So to add all that stuff I just rambled on about to a package here, how long do you think, in your view, that we're going to get all these things properly aggregated from an engineering and software perspective so they work together well and give us like these, not just a Ready Player One experience, but frankly even like a full-on Star Trek level holodeck, capacity, not just for like even super rich, but like just regular common folk. And what does this open up as far as like just different VR and metaverse platforms and what that means for the, the evolution of the entire tech XR industry? So please feel free to waffle on about that as much as you want to.
Ark, I appreciate you indulging me. Honestly, I really do. I've got a decent interest in this topic, right? I once built a homemade omnidirectional treadmill, right, out of wood, and I made a bowl and slippery feet and all that stuff. I also have a catwalk. There was something a number of years ago, I think it might have been 2016 or something like that, maybe even earlier. There's a TV show in the UK called The Gadget Show, and they often do like, cool new tech that's going on. And they built this war simulator, right? It used Battlefield at the time, and they'd hooked up paintball guns, and they were using several Kinects plus projectors mounted on things that would swing the view around to match your head tracking. Mad stuff, right? But they had the rollers on the floor, right? The same rollers I think we also saw in some movies, and certainly possibly in Ready Player One as well. But I think the holodeck is a great example of that sort of thing, where it's like, that's the dream thing, we'd love to have that, and VR is actually making that possible, right? When you have your Guardian on Quest and it's got those lines, and maybe you step outside and it goes into pass through and you're just staring at that space, those lines. It kind of feels like a holodeck when you kind of step into it.
Yeah.
But I thought that Disney thing was really interesting. It made it look like there was just these tiny little things on the floor. You just throw them down and boom, you can do something. But I imagine it's a lot more complex than that. There's probably a lot going on underneath the floor that we're unaware of, right? So those rollers are probably spinning with a reasonable amount of torque. Plus they seem to be able to pivot. So I'm not sure how deep those motors must be, but it's definitely a really interesting method of being able to move somebody around like that in a way that's probably much more efficient than, let's say, using, rolling balls, because you could just use the motors, use that rotational motion and kind of convert it to linear in any direction. I think it's amazing. I don't know if that's something that we'll see in the home anytime soon, but I love the idea. I would probably say that, like most things, right, it'll happen in like LBE first of all, right? So we'll have like pop-up experiences that'll come to town or whatever, and you'll be able to jump into this as an experience. It'll be like those I can't think of the name of them now. Those things you would get into, they're like shuttlecraft sort of things or whatever, and they would just simulators, they would just sort of move around and do loads of things, and then they became more advanced over time. They would add in more dimensions of senses, they start spraying you with water and all this kind of stuff. It's going to be the future version of that, right? Initially, that's probably where it's going to happen, and then I guess if you can afford it, you could probably have an installation in your house. But at that point, if you could just have a casual stroll down the street, but you're never actually leaving the same sort of 6-foot box, that would be amazing, I think, because you could have true kind of open world VR It could potentially alleviate motion sickness, right? 50% of people in the industry suffer from some form of motion sickness, which is a huge number, a huge problem for adoption. But that's because of artificial locomotion. And the fact that we just can't walk naturally in our brain can make that relation between the fake and the real world. And these kind of things have the potential of doing that, right? So I'd say something that will become more and more important in the next 5 to 10 years will be removing as much of the technology from us as possible while still having the same experience, right? So hand tracking is going to be the first thing there. I think there's going to be a huge wave of headsets after Vision Pro that will focus on hand tracking only, right? There's rumored Quest Lite coming out this year that might sort of completely explode that space and create that whole use case, basically. Body tracking is going to be coming pretty close behind it. I think there's a number of compelling technologies being developed right now that are almost at that stage where it's accessible, it's not too expensive, and you've kind of got that, right? And then if we can make the headsets a little bit lighter, then we can kind of feel a bit more comfortable in our environments. We can just walk around, we can use our hands to gesture and do things naturally, right? I'd say that's going to be when it turns into the holodeck. And yeah, that could be in the next 5 to 10 years. And if you already own a Catwalk C right now, then let's be honest, you're probably going to have one of those things when they come out as well. But yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a great question. Apologies for the waffle to anybody, but yeah, that's an interesting one, Ark. I always appreciate the thoughts that you have. Thanks for that. Ducky, since you're here, and you're close to the front, I'm just gonna megaphone you and put you on the spot and get you to say hello and talk to us about virtual reality and.
Oh, jeez.
You just meander, just say random things. We don't care. Sounds fun.
Hey everybody, I'm Ducky. Yeah, it's cool to be here. It's really awesome to see all the progress you've made. Here on Banter. It's really excellent. Every time I turn around, I see something that kind of amazes me, and I start thinking about how it's done and what you got going on. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we have another similar kind of a Q&A type event after this, which is more dedicated to space making. So if you have any questions, we can certainly dig into the nitty gritty then. But yeah, it's definitely good to see you. I'm glad you were able to make it, and apologies for the accidental Spider-Man.
I'll get used to it at some point. There we go.
Nice one. We usually have Shoseki here, right? He's usually streaming this. We have DedZ here? Yeah.
DedZ is
so
today.
I usually like to just say hello to DedZ so everybody can turn around and wave. I'm sure he's floating around somewhere here in the ether, and if you wave in one direction, I'm sure he's going to look at you. So
We love you.
yeah. I'll just continue to fill time then while you guys most of you guys are here every week, I guess, at this point. Oh, DedZ has asked a question. He wants to know what the 5-year plan is for Banter. That's a great question. I tend to
Oh yes.
Kalima has joined
I tend
the
to not
space.
think too much about 5-year plans. I think 5 years is a long time. So many things can change in 5 years, but I think I definitely want to sort of start out as I mean to go on with Banter and just try to engage the community and try to find as many ways as possible to kind of find out what it is that you guys kind of want from this place, right? And the one thing I've learned is building SideQuest is that it's so easy to fall out of touch with what people are doing and what they want with the platform. So right now we're trying to kind of put the necessary pieces in place to make sure that we kind of have those back channels of information and we can hear the things that people are upset about, that they don't necessarily speak about out in public settings like this, but they might talk about, comfortably with their friends, and we just want to make sure those things don't go on forever, right? And we just leave them broken forever and never fix them. We definitely want to try and make this as an enjoyable as an experience as possible. So I think for us, the biggest thing is going to be the overhaul of the menu and the onboarding in the short term. I think we're also going to be doing a lot of work on the avatars, the LOD system. As I'm sure a lot of you see, the avatars turn into those 2D avatars to try and save on performance when there's a lot of people in the room. There's a lot of optimization we can do there to be able to reduce the need for that, to be able to leverage more of Ready Player Me's system as that evolves, and we want to be able to do that. I mean, I think for us, 5-year plan is kind of get out of our own way, right? Try to find out what people want, what they want to do, and do more of that than just imposing what we think things should be on the world, let's say. But yeah, that's. I hope that answers your question, Dead Zed. Do you know what I could do? I could change things up, right? Where I just start calling out on random people if nobody comes up to the front, right? Well, maybe Iron Wolf, right, Helen?
Yeah, I have some idea. So on Discord we have the avatar channel, right?
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but doing a hero avatar and doing a piece of clothes is not the same. So we can actually do 2 channels, one for our hero avatars and one for pieces of clothes.
Yeah, that's definitely potentially worth thinking about.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, they are totally different, right? You can make separate parts, and then people can mix and match them, which is kind of cool, right? That's how you can put together the potato avatar and the ostrich and make that really interesting combination. But yeah, the heroes are different. They're totally different, in fact. I mean, let's maybe look and see if, I don't know whether what combination of channels we could do with there without things maybe getting too out of hand in terms of the Discord getting crazy. But maybe there's a way we can
set up threads.
Maybe threads. Yeah. Let's. We can have a conversation about it after this anyway, and figure out how to maybe tags, right? Possibly in a forum way, so you can tag things and then filter things easily. I don't know. We'll figure it out, Iron Wolf. But yeah, that's a good suggestion. I haven't really seen too many people lean into the separate, the separate parts avatars so far. Only really the hero ones, right? Because I actually think those are possibly the more popular ones. I think people just want to bring in something cool and unique, and they're not as interested in the, be able to change your own cosmetics and swap out the head and put in different accessories and hair and stuff. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's AI generation.
Yeah, exactly. Doing the AI generation like I'm having here, it's fine. But if I want to do some painting of this clothes by myself instead of doing a hero avatar, it would be easier to have one channel just to go in and look, or sub channel, whatever.
Gotcha. That's really interesting. I'm hoping you've seen the video by Remarcus on how to do all of that.
I've got it today, so I will see it later on.
Nice. It is honestly great. Really good production quality there. So that's a really good one to watch.
And that's the other question. He's doing it in Photoshop, I think, and
that's right.
And we need something similar for us for the free one, GIMP. And what I've heard, there is a instructions underneath the video, but I haven't had the time to look yet. So.
I would say
to let you know, there's also a Photoshop alternative called Photopia that's online only, but it pretty much does everything Photoshop does.
That's right. That's also
yeah. Or Krita. Krita is also free and open source and is so much better than GIMP.
Okay, I've this is Aline over here, guys. I've megaphoned Aline, who's trashing your appreciation for GIMP, Iron Wolf. For anybody who doesn't know, Aline is is the creator who's made most of the worlds on here, including this one and many of the other ones that you've seen. Yeah,
believe
I'm
you
sure we
paid
can.
on Gimp.
I think you can open PSD files, right? That's it. They provide sample PSD files anyway. I'm sure you can open those with GIMP or anything else anyway.
Yeah. But honestly, one tiny addition. I think it's easier to paint it directly in 3D in Blender than to paint it in GIMP.
Okay.
Just for consideration. So if you just look up texture paint tutorial, go straight to the point, ignore all the modeling, all the rigging stuff, only select the texture paint layout and you can just paint on your 3D model, which is just so much more intuitive. And it also has full support for graphic tablets, so you have pressure sensitivity, all that stuff already in there.
Nice. Thank you, Eileen.
That's awesome. Cheers, Armwolf. Let's see, T-Max, I'm assuming you were there because you would like to ask a question. Go ahead.
That is correct. First of all, let you know that when I loaded in, you're right now floating, and if your holograph avatar is supposed to be up there, it's not for me.
Oh no. We should space state property all of this, Celine, shouldn't we? Like
there
we
we go. That works.
Yeah.
Okay, so my actual question, I thought about this last night and today. The other day I went into a world during an event where we all, right after the event, went to the gallery world where you say something to the painting and then it creates an AI painting out of it.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a way to take that gallery world and do a reverse on it where we put our own art into like Discord and then we can load it into the gallery world to show off to others, like art we make on our own without AI. So that way we can have it show to others.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that would actually be a very simple thing to do relative to the dynamic, AI-based art generation that's going on in that world. What you could do is just remix the gallery as it is, keep all of the frames in place, and then just, right-click each of the images, that upload them to a Discord chat or channel or whatever. Grab the URLs for each and just slap them straight into the A-frame in there to be able to display them. Yeah, that'd be fairly easy to do. I could certainly take you through that, after this.
Static Thread has joined the space.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Happy to.
Yeah, because I showed off some of the fan art I did in the Discord today or the day before, I can't remember, of fan art I did of Susie Hunter, aka the Sphere Hunter on YouTube, which I shared those with her on Twitter or X, and she liked the post.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. She's liked previous fan art that I've put on Twitter too, so that helps.
Nice. Sounds like you're making a name for yourself there.
I'm trying.
Nice. Well, good work.
Thank you.
Thanks, T-Max.
Yep.
Now, who can we call on? Who can we randomly call on? Oh, is Ark making his way down there? Have you got another one you'd like to ask, Ark?
Unless someone else wants to. I don't want to just hog all the time, but so
yes,
this is
you
a
do.
Generalized...
Come on.
Of course, naturally.
Oh, Static, you want to go in there?
Oh, go
Just
ahead,
because Ark wanted to.
Oh.
So we know this.
Everybody asks their questions at the same time.
Yeah.
But the amount of visitors to spaces and the people that love them, that's it.
The people that love them and the amount of visitors. Is that a question?
No, I'm just saying that to each space, like let's say we go to the featured page, you look up, it says like 20,000 likes and a bunch of hearts.
Gotcha. Right, I'm with you now. Yeah, absolutely, yes, indeed. Yeah, that's definitely something that we want to have. We've talked about this internally, actually, of having a whole kind of analytics layer and being able to kind of see where people are kind of coming in from your space, even live or historically like that, which I totally agree. And then, yeah, I think what we've done in the past is typically used metrics like that for, user curation, right? Where that's the sort of thing that kind of drives into how easy it is for those spaces to sort of bubble up to the top of the space lists, right? If it's a list sorted by hot or by top or whatever it is, that the number of visitors and the number of wish lists or likes or favorites or whatever it is could directly kind of feed into that. Oh, hey, good to see you, Nuben.
Welcome.
that was some fast soundboarding there, especially if that was an accidental teleport. Oh boy.
Oops. Oh dear.
Oh no. Yeah. But no, that's a great point, Static. I think the new menu overhaul should hopefully give us a whole new view on things in the menu, right? We're hoping to allow you to click on a space, see more detail and information about it before you join, maybe see how many people are in it, who those people are, especially ones that are on your friends list, let's say. I think a lot of that stuff kind of makes sense. In fact, the way we imagine things, honestly, full disclosure, shamelessly stealing this from one of the competition, but the way VR chat kind of lays out instances and spaces and gives you visibility on that and the ability to jump from one to the other and choose. Now, they tend to limit it to just kind of one scoped set of instances that you just come back to over and over. I think we could maybe open it up a bit more than that, but I do like how they give you that manual visibility. I can move people up and down between instances right now, but to just give you guys the ability to see what instances there are and to be able to jump into them. So, and to see how many people are there, right? Even if you're seeing how many people are there in private as well, right? Because I think that can often help to show when spaces are active, even if people are in private instances, right? Because that's something people need too.
Sure. Well, thank you, Shane.
Cheers, Static. And thanks for your unwavering positivity. It is appreciated. Go ahead, Ark. You're already pre-megaphoned.
Okay. So this kind of actually continues on what you were talking about a little bit, kind of from a segue from that. What in your view is the future evolution of not just Banter, but just metaverse platforms in general? Like the other day I was talking to an older friend of mine and she wanted to know what the metaverse is, which obviously there's no metaverse. There's metaverses, there's Banter, there's VR chat, there's the Zuckerverse, there's, insert your choice of whatever. And they, right now, and maybe I'm using a very imperfect analogy, but you remember back in the day when the internet was a bit more fragmented in as much as that there were much more of web ring designs to things. And inside the web rings, things would hyperlink very kind of consistently between them, but you'd be inside of a kind of a separate ecosystem of that web ring, and then you have this web ring until Google and Yahoo perfected the idea of search, query whether that was a net positive or a net loss or kind of a mix of both, but that changed the landscape completely. Right now, metaverse platforms kind of seem a bit akin to that in a way. Like, here's Banter's world, and you can access it, and then you have to completely exit this application. I get that with web rings, it was all one common application. It was either Internet Explorer or Netscape or whatever, and everything worked inside of that. Whereas in this case, it's kind of 180 degrees the other way. Here's all the worlds, but they're inside of different applications. But that said, can you see a scenario, and I don't know if this is something that is in the business model of any of the different metaverse platforms to do this, where yes, here's Banter's metaverse, platform, but you can, if you wanted to go to this platform over here, you could access it, and then vice versa, because right now there's an access issue as far as understanding necessarily what Banter has to offer. For example, I mean, it's the smaller fish in the pond right now, and I'm not saying that as an insult, just VR chat's the big boy right now, and being able to have access, would give a bit more of, resource, awareness to, people who are in other platforms. And I get that this is something that would get very complicated because you got to then work out between VR chat and, the Horizon Worlds or, any of the other many different metaverse platforms. But is that something you can see evolving out of the current, landscape where things aren't so compartmentalized and fractured? Is there a benefit for, them to be able to allow... Am I making sense? You kind of get where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
No, I'll let you go with that.
I yeah, appreciate that. I hate the term metaverse. First of all, I just want to put that out there, right? I guess I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I know what I think it is, right? And I know what it's not, right? It's not crypto. So anybody here thinks the metaverse is crypto, we're not going to have a conversation about that. But I think what people want and what they want to try and take from this idea of the metaverse is that they can create a new internet, right? Which is kind of a mad thing. And I think a lot of these big corporations are kind of like, well, if we could create a new internet, maybe we could control that internet, and that could be our internet. And then that kind of flies in the face, I think, of what, let's say the idea of the metaverse promises. I think the truth is we're already all connected in the world. We already have an internet. We don't need another one. The metaverse kind of already exists in that sense, right? But it's not VR chat. It's not Horizon Worlds. It's not Rec Room. It's not any of these single point of failure platforms where it's not an open system. They host all of the content. It's all on their servers. It's all controlled and protected and encrypted, and many different layers of security on top of it, which is not what a metaverse is, right? A metaverse is like the internet, where it's all completely separate, independent entities that adhere to a common standard, exactly as you describe. There's promise with something called deep linking, although it hasn't really taken off or had as much adoption as we'd like. I think the interests of these corporations right now don't necessarily align with having a metaverse, but I love the idea of what the metaverse is. We call it the Banterverse in here, just so we don't have to refer to it as the metaverse, right? Because I hate that term, because crypto bros just ruined it, as well as Meta themselves a little bit. But I like that idea of openness and interoperability, right? And that's kind of the reason why a lot of things are even the way they are in Banter. That's why every space is a web address, right? We're reusing those same fundamental tools that are there that connect all of humanity right now, and that's how you plug in to the metaverse. That's how you have that kind of interoperability. I think in the future for us, cheers Fate, we might have a scenario where we make some of the core parts of what makes Banter possible available for others, so that they could build support for Banter into their games and platforms as well. We have an interest in doing that mainly because of our platform position, right? In SideQuest, building Banter is many things for us, but one thing it is for us to kind of build out some tools, some platform services, some facilities that developers can take advantage of, right? Like Steamworks or Epic Online Services or Oculus Platform Services, right? That we can actually build these kind of things out. And because we're doing that, we want it to work in as many games as possible. We're not creating this closed garden siloed setup where we're all competing. We want to spread the love and let people have it, right? So in our case, we have a vested interest in doing so, Ark, but I'm not sure if I can see that for many of the other titles that are out there. But yeah, sorry, didn't mean to Spider-Man straight over your head there. That's actually us wrapped up. I've got to jump. Two of my staff have already told me that Space Makers has just started in the next space. So if you guys are up for it, maybe we can just drop a load of portals down here.
Sounds good.
And we can jump into the next space.
Space Makers.
And just continue basically the same conversation.